In this tutorial, I'd like to show you Hawaiki Color from Tokyo Productions and Lawn Road. Hawaiki Color is a groundbreaking, fully featured primary color grading effect. Hawaiki Color was created exclusively for Final Cut Pro X. You can find it in the effects browser under Hawaiki Color. I'll drag the effect to my first clip. The first thing you'll notice is the extensive on-screen controls that appear. At the bottom are three very large color wheels, familiar to you if you've done any color correcting in a three-way color corrector or in a color grading application. They control the color balance in the shadows, the mids, and the highlights. The other four controls are sections to adjust temperature, exposure, saturation, and additional picture effects. Let's begin color correcting the shot. With any color grading, it's always best to have some scopes open for reference. I like the RGB parade because it tells me what's going on with both color balance and brightness and contrast. While you're grading, use the various controls and the parameters to toggle the UI on and off to see the full picture represented in the scopes. The temperature sliders control the white balance in the lows, mids, highlights, or globally. This shot looks a little cool, so I'll go ahead and use the temperature slider and push the highlight slider up to add warmth. You can tell that you're adding warmth by the color of the slider. As with any of the FxFactory on-screen controls in Final Cut Pro X, you can option-click to reset any value. The exposure section has similar sliders for lows, mids, highlights, and global. I'll make adjustments to the contrast by adjusting the mid, low, and highlight sliders. I always keep an eye on the scopes to make sure I'm not overdoing anything. There is a one-slider contrast control on the top right, which is a great quick fix as well. This shot is pretty well balanced, but I'll push the lows toward the blue section of the color wheel and push the mids to the warm yellow-orange on its color wheel to add a little color contrast. The top right section includes sliders for hue, contrast, blurring, and sharpening. I'll add a little bit of sharpening to this clip to make it pop. On the bottom right, we have saturation controls for the lows, mids, highlights, and global. I'll add a little bit of saturation to the mids, but I'll be careful since there are some bright orange, red, and yellow elements in this shot, and I don't want to overdo it. Over in the parameters, the saturation, sharpness, blur, and contrast sliders have more granular controls if you'd like to only adjust them in the lows, the mids, or the highlights, as opposed to just a global correction. The on-screen controls in this effect are so good that you probably won't spend a lot of time in the parameters, but I'll point out a few great features there. You can check or uncheck the bypass grade box to see your original clip. The View drop-down menu gives you great ways to compare your grade to your original image. Source, grade, 2-up, vertical split, horizontal split, diagonal split. The full screen checkbox allows you to make the clip full screen, but still leaves semi-transparent traces of the on-screen controls up so you can continue grading. Use the Dim drop-down to dim certain aspects of the interface. Finally, I'll check the Legalize box and make sure everything is broadcast legal, and then the Commit Grade box. Again, I'll check my full screen correction in the scopes. I can toggle the Bypass Grade button on and off to check before and after. I recommend leaving Legalize off until you're finished grading the clip, because it's generally better to get your highs and lows in check before clipping them with a brick wall Legalize function. Hawaiki Color is a groundbreaking effect that will really change the way you color correct your clips. It's an immersive experience, intuitive, fast, and in many ways a lot easier and more convenient to use than the built-in Final Cut Pro X color board. FxFactory offers a huge selection of great effects, and if you don't have them yet, I suggest you go try them out at noiseindustries.com.